As I start to dig into the process of building out my wood shop, the very first thing that I need is something stable to build things from. I've got something that I picked up on the side of the street, this little cabinet here, but this little cabinet is not stable. It's got a lot of wiggle to it, and this top drawer, as you can see, this top piece of wood is warped. This is all straight. These drawers, they work fine enough. This drawer needs a little finessing or something too. So what I'm gonna do is go through and sure things up. I'm gonna get rid of some of that. I'm gonna take care of these drawers, and I'm gonna make it my first little workstation. I wonder if they actually glued it or if it's only brad nailed. Maybe it's only glued. I'm not sure. I didn't really look into it all that much.
Curiosity got the best of me, and so I did look at the screws on the side. There's 3 on the top 2 shelves and 4 on the bottom one. Plain Jane Phillips head, inch long. I'm just gonna leave them where they are and, maybe replace them in the future. Who knows? Moving on.
So the first thing that I did was reached into my lovely pile of plywood possibilities, and I grabbed the perfect piece to start with. First try, no warm-up. I don't mind that the piece is taller. I feel like that's going to be something that I could possibly take advantage of later. And I definitely don't mind that the piece isn't as wide as the cabinet. It's totally fine to have that open air. Then the only thing to do was to pick a side that had the most character, which was this part up here, and to start lining the piece up. Immediately after putting the piece on its face on the ground, I saw a big spider. When I grabbed this little shop cabinet, I also grabbed a bunch of other stuff that the folks were giving away, including these nails, screws, including these screws. So these are little 2.5 inchers. We're gonna go ahead and use those too.
I don't really get a lot of comments on my videos or any comments at all, so if you folks think I am doing a good job at this or if you'd be doing something differently, leave a comment, let me know. I'm really interested to hear what you think.
I wasn't exactly sure how I was gonna align the backer piece with the rest of the cabinet, and it took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to come to a decision. But pretty quickly I realized there was only one way to go about it. So I know this side of this piece of wood is straight, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a corner measurement there, I'm gonna take a quarter measurement here, I'm gonna shift this thing over to where it needs to be, I'm gonna put a screw dead center just to hold it in place, and then I'm gonna shore up all the other parts. Now that I got this all shored up, much more stable, so much more stable. I think the next thing that I need to do is...
No, that's not a spinner.
So much more stable than it was before, so this is what I need. This is going to be a good solid work surface. Next thing I need to do is take care of this drawer and this warpage right here. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can really think of doing is putting a new top on this and screwing something in to pull it off, hopefully. So we go back to the land of plywood possibilities, and I found a nice piece that'll make a good cabinet countertop. The piece that I grabbed when flush to the front hung over the sides a little bit, which yet again I think will probably be advantageous in the future. And it also left this little gap here in the back, something that will probably come in handy.
I'm going to be using these same screws I used on the back to do the edges of this new tabletop, but for the center here in the front where I actually want it to do some work and be pulling, I'm going to be using a different screw. And one of the things you want to make sure of when you're doing your pilot holes is that you're using the right size drill bit for the pilot hole so that you're making sure the thread can get enough purchase to do their job.
This cabinet was outside for at least a couple of days before I grabbed it, and so I think a lot of the glue got kind of compromised. I ended up splitting the plywood here a little bit. No bother. Moving forward, onward and upward. I took a measurement from the bottom to the top piece, the original top piece of the cabinet, the one that's bowed, so that I could cut a 2x4 that's slightly larger to add pressure and actually move that bow up while I screwed it in. I didn't shoot any footage of me cutting the 2x4, so here's an equally dramatic reenactment of me doing that. Cutting that.
Cut down a 2x4 to give myself this little bit of a gap so I can close that before I screw it together.
Now, all I had to do was add pressure to the sides of the cabinet as I screwed it in. I just needed to screw 3 of these cabinet screws I have down into it and yeah, hopefully get rid of that or at least minimize it moving forward.
Well, it looks like it worked, but I'm just going to leave it there for a bit and let it kind of settle in. Alright, I let it sit for about an hour. First things first, I need to file down these little nubbins right here because that is dangerous.
After finishing that, I went around all of the edges of the outside of the cabinet and of the drawers and just gave it a quick little rundown, just broke the edge on all of it, just to try and make the entrance of the drawer front a little bit easier to close.
These drawer tops are also pretty jacked up, I mean in general, and I'm going to go ahead and take the edge off of the backs, and this is the back side of the bottom drawer. Maybe I'll see too if the drawers actually fit better in a specific place. Okay, so the problem that I've run into is that only one of the drawers actually closes well. Middle one's actually pretty decent. These drawers I'm gonna have to fix. Gonna have to fix the bottoms on these.
I wanted to have a smooth surface to start from, and so I got my belt sander out and I took out all of the drawers and just gave it a little bit of an edge, just sanded it down a little bit just to give myself something clean to start from. I grabbed my rasp again and really gave it a hard edge, something a little bit softer than 45 degrees to try and help that drawer slide in. What I ended up doing was grabbing my Dremel and a pretty aggressive bit and just on the bottom side of the front of the drawer went through and really knocked it down and gave it a nice shelf or angle to slide into the drawer front.
Okay. Now that I got everything sanded down, it's not necessarily smooth. I at least rounded everything else out so that it doesn't catch so much to put it in.
Next, what I'm going to need to do is go through and put some wax of some sort down, some sort of lubricant, so that these slide out even better than that.
After all of that was done, the only thing left to do was to grab a piece of wood and some 800 grit sandpaper and to go and knock down the edges of the backer piece here and flatten the top just to give it, you know, some semblance of a finished look.
Ooh, that was a lot of sanding. Now that that's taken care of, I can move the station into place and put the final touches on it before I call it complete for now.
I am stable as a kid.
This is just so much sturdier already. My garage is uneven, so I already know I need to shim this bottom. Now that I've got this shored up, I can finally start to trust it with machines such as this one, and it'll allow me to do one last thing real quick, which is I'm going to take this nice little chunk of walnut that I have, and I'm going to make myself some new drawer pulls. These are boring, these are lame, I don't like them, they're not mine, it's not original, and so I think these will be a nice accent, so I'm going to cut these down and make myself some blocky pulls.
I took my time cutting these pieces of walnut because I didn't have my chop saw, you know, secured to anything. It was just kind of sitting loose. And to be completely honest with you, the chop saw still kind of freaks me out just a little bit. After that, I grabbed my 800 grit sandpaper on my belt sander and I went and rounded off all of the edges on the blocks. I'm not going to do a lot of shaping on these. I'm going to keep it real simple. It's shop furniture. No need to waste too much time on it. But what I did was I put an angle on the bottom of the handle so that there would be just a little bit of something beyond a pinch to pull out from. Then took the pieces and grabbed my drill press and just kind of eyed up the center of each piece. I actually did a pretty decent job of hitting close to dead center on them too. Not to brag or anything, but you know, what's up?
Now that I've got these new handles installed, that honestly I'm really stoked on. They might be kind of big and bulky, but they're also going to help my crimping. I'm going to go ahead and put a coat of feed and wax on these things, polish it up a little bit, give it a little bit of shine, and call this project done.
Now, if you're wondering why I used this particular finish, it's because it's what I had. I had a lot of it because honestly I've never really used it for anything before. I'm almost completely in the dark when it comes to finishes and how to go about that sort of thing. But I figured, why not? I would take all of the other exposed edges of this cabinet and rub them down too, give them a nice little coat, a little bit of loving, just as a way to finish everything off with a little.
And we are finished. A sturdy place to begin to build my workshop from. Super excited. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider watching another one. And if you enjoy that video too, maybe you should subscribe. I don't know, I'm just saying. I feel like I need some sort of catchphrase here. Some sort of sign off. Channels have their catchphrases and stuff, right? Like there's that one dude who's always like when he comes into camera, you know, he like slides on the workbench and stuff like that. That dude, that's his thing. What's my thing? What is my thing? All right, we'll see you in the next video where I try to figure out what my thing is. I don't have a thing. What should my thing be? Thank you for watching another video from a failed photographer turned woodworker. Zang. Yeah. Gonna build some more of these and get this system dialed in. It's actually not too bad. That could be worse.